What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hoops and Stuff podcast. I'm your host, Isaac, and today we're going to be going over good and bad rookies. We only have 2 bad rookies so far, but we have 6 good rookies, so let's get right into this episode.
Yes.
All right, to start off, we have Marcus Sasser for the Pistons, and he's been doing pretty decent for Detroit, and not somebody that was expected to do as good as maybe some others were out of this draft class, because there's tons of good players in this draft class, but he's been one of those, I guess you could say, surprise picks, or he was a steal, I guess, for the Detroit Pistons. He gets a solid amount of minutes. He gets 21 minutes per game, and he averages 11 points. He's played 10 games this season, but he hasn't started a single game. Sorry. But yeah, with Marcus Sasser, he is a point guard. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Sasser, he's a point guard. He hasn't missed a free throw yet this season. He averages 1.8 3-pointers made per game. And like I said, averaging 10.7, which that's about average for a rookie, I'd say. Somewhere around 10 to 15 points is an average number, I'd say. And he gets a decent amount of rebounds for a... Oh, sorry, I was looking at the wrong person, but he only gets 3 rebounds per game. But, and he gets 3 assists. So he's not great with rebounding and assisting, but he's a good overall player for the team. He has 1 steal per game right now, and only 1 turnover, which isn't terrible. But like I said, a very efficient free throw shooter, and he's a pretty solid shooter from the field with a 51% field goal percentage. So, I mean, decent numbers from Sasser. Not the best, obviously, but he's definitely somebody who wasn't expected to do good that's doing pretty decent. So I would take that if I was the Pistons, and I would be comfortable probably starting Marcus Sasser if somebody like Cade Cunningham got hurt. Next up, sticking with the Pistons, we'll go with Ausar Thompson. He's been a solid player for the Pistons. He was expected to be the second best brother out of the Thompson brothers between him and Amen. But so far, he's seemed to be the better brother, with obviously playing games. Game-wise, he's better basketball-wise. And he's played 10 games as well. He has 32 minutes per game, which is really good. And he has been shooting not as good as Marcus Sasser, but not terrible. It's below average, but it's not bad. He's been shooting 41% from the field, and he has a 78 free throw percent. So not terrible, but he has missed a couple here and there, it looks like. He's not a great 3-point shooter. He averages less than 1 3-pointer made a game, but he's averaging 11.4 points, so 11 points per game, and he is a great rebounder. He gets 10 rebounds a game usually, and 4 assists, not terrible. And on his defense aspect of the game, he has been playing amazing with a steal and 2 blocks per game. And he has 2 turnovers per game, which is not terrible, but it's not bad. So, I mean, he's been playing pretty well for the Pistons. He was the 5th overall pick, I want to say, so not bad for a 5th overall pick. And again, he's not going to be the best player in this draft class, but he's still pretty solid for the Pistons, especially since he is a shooting guard small forward, so I think their weakness is really like the small forward position, but with him playing small forward, they could run like Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Ozar Thompson. I don't even know. Maybe they'll run like Jalen Duren or Marvin Bagley at power forward and then run Jalen Duren at center. I don't know, but the Pistons definitely have a young team with us, and like with these two that I just talked about, Ozar and Marcus Sasser. So I think that in a couple of years they'll be a pretty good team, to be honest. And like once all their players develop, one great example of one of those players being Ozar Thompson. Next up, we have Derek Lively, and he put on a show in his debut against Wembanyama, and he is averaging 24 minutes per game. Great field goal efficiency. He's a very efficient field goal shooter. He has 71% field goal percentage, and he's not a great free throw shooter. He's 54% from the line. He's not a three-point shooter in game, but I have seen him shooting out of game. He's pretty good. And I mean, he's getting 9 points per game. Give him 7 rebounds, an assist, a steal, a block, and 1 turnover. So he's playing decent. He's definitely going to develop into a better player, and I think he's going to help this Mavs team win. And I feel like he'll be a great young piece to go along with their star Luka Doncic and their vet Kyrie Irving. And like I think that Derek Lively could definitely evolve into a better player, and he could be a great center, not just for like this year, but for a long period of time. And I think that he could possibly be one of the best centers in like the Mavericks like franchise if he stays with the Mavs and he keeps showing signs of progression. Like he's been playing really well, and I hope to see him keep going on that trend. Hopefully he can start hitting some 3-pointers, because man, I seen a video of him on TikTok. Bro hit like 11 3-pointers in a row from the corner. He's nice. But I'm just hoping that he can actually end up doing that in game and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens with Derek Lively, if he keeps going on this upwards trend or if he ends up just being like a role player type of player. Next up, let's go with Brandon Miller from the Charlotte Hornets. He's another player who has a couple young, decent players around him. He got, obviously, LaMelo Ball. They got Mark Williams. P.J. Washington is pretty young. Miles Bridges isn't too old, who is coming back from his suspension soon, I believe, if he hasn't already come back. And obviously Brandon Miller himself. He's played 31 minutes per game so far. He's played 8 games. And field goal percentage is below average, but he's at 42. It's not terrible. Excuse me. And he is okay from the line. He's 81%. Pretty solid numbers from the line. And he is averaging 1 3-pointer made per game. He's averaging 13 points, which is pretty solid for a rookie at the beginning of their season. And around 4 total rebounds per game. 2 assists, which is a little below average for him right here. And about a steal a game. And about a block a game. And about a turnover a game. So a lot of just one. But with steals, blocks, and turnovers, he has just one of every one of them. But Yeah, he's a solid player. I think that he will definitely end up being a good pick for this Charlotte Hornets team. And he's definitely a player that they really needed on their team. I do think he will definitely work well with LaMelo Ball once they are both fully developed. So I am excited to see Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball dominate the court together. Not even play on the court together, dominate the court together, because I think that they will definitely be a great duo if they stick together. All right, I had to save the best two for last. With the fifth rookie we're gonna go with, we'll go Chet Holmgren. And by the way, these aren't in any order from like best rookie to worst rookie or whatever. It's just random order. But we're gonna go with Chet Holmgren next. Chet Holmgren has played 9 games this season on 30 minutes. He's 56% from the field, and he is an 88% free throw shooter at the line. He can shoot the 3 ball. He's averaging 2 3-pointers made per game, 16.2 points, which is really good, and 8 total rebounds. He's averaging 2 assists, a steal, 2 blocks, and 2 turnovers per game. Turnovers is a little high for him there, but that's all right. LeBron has like the most turnovers in the history of the NBA, so I think Chet would be just fine. But before I get too into Chet, I just want to say that he is technically classified as a rookie this year because he didn't play at all last year. So he is considered a rookie, and he could win Rookie of the Year this year. So for Chet, he's also another player who has a lot of other younger players around him. Like, he has Josh Giddey, he has Jalen Williams, both the Jalen Williams, J-Dub and J-Will. Who else do they have? They have Shea. He's not too old. They've got Lou Dort over there. So they have a decent team. They have quite a few young players. Oh, they have Cason Wallace, I want to say. Yeah, they have Cason Wallace, who is another young player who was drafted in the he was drafted in the lottery. So I mean, he could definitely have other younger players around him that like start to get better as well. And honestly, Chet is looking like he's going to dominate the league right now. He's looking like a solid player for this Oklahoma City Thunder to go along with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey. That's a big 3 right there. Those 3 players are really solid. And I think that in the future, this is another team that will end up being really good. And to wrap up our list of good players, we have to end on the highest I don't even know what to call him, the highest prospect since LeBron James, Victor Wembanyama. He's been going crazy. I mean, he's averaging 30 minutes a game in his 9 games that he's played. I was watching him in his rookie debut. I watched the whole game, and he wasn't looking great, but he's turned it around. He's only 46% from the field, which is not terrible, but it's just like average. He is 77% from the line, which is okay. But he is making 2 3-pointers per game, which for a center is good, like powerful. He's like a power forward center. You can play either one. They have him at 20 points a game, which is really solid. He has the highest points per game for any rookie. And sorry, I got sidetracked. We have him for 9 rebounds per game, which is really good. Didn't expect him to be a great rebounder because I was talking about him in one of my previous episodes, and I was talking about how he looked like he just looked really lazy in the preseason summer league or whatever, and that just made me think that he wasn't going to be a great rebounder. He was just going to get lazy, but he's averaging 9 total rebounds per game, which is pretty good. He's only at 2 assists, which for a center, I don't expect him to get very many assists because a lot of centers can't really pass the ball well. He is averaging 1 steal, which is really good, and he's averaging 3 blocks. That's elite. He's going crazy, swatting shots left and right. Sorry, the video cut off, but as I was saying, he is swatting shots left and right. He's been an absolute dominator on the defense. All right, now to start off with our bad players, we have Scoot Henderson, who is currently hurt, so he's only played 5 games. But he played, within those 5 games, he played 28 minutes. His field goal percentage was only at a 35. And his free throw percentage was at an 86, which is solid. He was making 0.4 3-pointers per game and only averaging 8.8 points per game. A total of 2 rebounds per game, 5 assists per game, which is pretty solid. A steal a game and no blocks, and 4 turnovers, which is terrible. He was turning over the ball a lot. And then he got injured. So he hasn't really played much, but his field goal levels were down and all that stuff. So far he's looking like a bad pick for that Trailblazers team, but maybe he can turn it around and end up playing better once he comes back from his injury or within the next couple of years, hopefully, because he's a big piece of this Trailblazers team, and I think they really need him for them to succeed, especially since they just got rid of Dame. They traded away Dame because they were bringing in Scoot, so I think that'll be a big problem if Scoot Henderson ends up being trash, especially since they picked him with, the 3rd pick. And finally, we have Amen Thompson, who was supposed to be the better of the Thompson twins, who was drafted to Houston. And for him, he played 17 minutes per game. He only played in 4 games until he got hurt. And his free throw percentage is only at a 63. And let's see what else. He averages 1 3-pointer made per game, only 6 points per game, and 3 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, no blocks, and 2 turnovers. So he's not playing great basketball at all. And that's a problem for the Houston Rockets because they drafted him with the 4th overall pick, which is really high when they could have picked even Ozar Thompson, who's been doing great. They could have picked anybody in this draft class besides Wembanyama, Scoot Henderson, Brandon Miller. Any of the other players that I've mentioned in this video could have been picked, but instead they picked Amen Thompson, who has gotten hurt multiple times since he's been drafted. So hopefully he can also turn it around and maybe be as good as his brother, but I think that if you just give him time, hopefully he'll get better as a player and he can stay healthy as well. That's going to be it for today's episode. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next Sunday here on the Hoops and Stuff podcast.